Well, hello everyone. Thanks for taking time to listen today. This video is going to be going over Kim Jong Un, what Hannah Arendt, what I thought of Kim Jong Un if she was alive today. Based on the work of Hannah Arendt, particularly her analysis of totalitarianism and the concept of the benign evil, she would likely view Kim Jong Un as a personification of totalitarian rule and would condemn the North Korean system as a modern manifestation of total domination. North Korea is a totalitarian regime. Arendt's landmark work, The Origins of Totalitarianism, details how totalitarianism differs fundamentally from previous forms of oppression like despotism or tyranny. Arendt would see the Kim Jong Un regime as fitting this definition for several reasons. The total control of society. Totalitarianism seeks to dominate every aspect of an individual's life, from public to private thoughts. Arendt would point to North Korea's system of all-encompassing control, including surveillance, propaganda, and the manipulation of truth, as characteristic of this domination. Use of terror and ideology. Arendt argued that totalitarian regimes use terror to enforce a singular, all-explaining ideology, often based on a warped version of history or nature. In the North Korean context, this would be the Juche ideology, which positions the Kim family as infallible leaders and requires absolute loyalty. All right, terror in the system. Terror in the system is not a means to an end, but an end in itself, used to keep the population in a state of fear and isolation. The fabrication of reality. A key tool of totalitarianism is the systemic denial of facts and the creation of a fictitious world to make people distrust their own experiences. Arendt would recognize the North Korean regime's relentless propaganda machine and the severe suppression of outside information as an effort to erase the distinction between fact and fiction, thereby destroying people's capacity to form independent judgment. Kim Jong Un as an embodiment of totalitarian leadership. Arendt's critique would focus less on Kim Jong Un's specific personality and more on his function within the totalitarian system. She would likely characterize him in terms to how she described Hitler and Stalin. The leaders as agent of the masses. Arendt argued that totalitarian leaders act as the personator and agent of the masses, appearing to embody their will. Kim Jong Un's mythologized status as a godlike figure who guides his people would be seen as a perfect example of this. Perverse dynamic, the banality of evil. Although Arendt did not believe totalitarian leaders were necessarily monstrous sadists, she would see their actions as products of a terrifyingly normal bureaucracy that enables horrific acts through a lack of critical thinking. Kim Jong-un's pursuit of power and maintenance of the state apparatus, regardless of the consequences for his own people, would exemplify this failure of moral reflection. The dispensable and indispensable leader. While a totalitarian leader wields absolute power, Arendt would note that the leader is, in one sense, dispensable because he is simply an interchangeable figurehead for the movement. This is demonstrated in the easy succession of the Kim dynasty, where each new leader is automatically vested with the same absolute power and divine status. The ideology and system of terror are more important than the individual leader. The destruction of plurality and individuality. Arendt would be most concerned with how the North Korean regime, like other totalitarian systems, actively destroys the human capacity for political action, which she saw as the highest form of human activity. Eliminating spontaneity. The regime's goal is to turn citizens into a predictable bundle of reactions by limiting spontaneity and individuality, forcing isolation. Totalitarianism thrives by atomizing the population, severing social bonds, and forcing individuals into isolation. This creates the lonely masses who are more susceptible to ideological control. The superfluity of human beings. Arendt argued that the concentration camps were the truest institution of totalitarian rule, serving as laboratories to test the theory that human beings are fundamentally superfluous and can be treated as objects. The existence of North Korean political prison camps would represent the ultimate culmination of this destructive logic. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm learning myself from this. I used artificial intelligence to gather this data. So I would encourage you, if you want to find out more, to try it yourself. But thanks for listening. Take care.